marriage. Let's talk about those who are married. Let's talk about those who want to get married. Let's talk about those who have been married. I've been involved in a multiple amount of weddings in my life, whether being a part of or going to and as a visitor. And I can say there are a select few that are actually still together, and I can count on one hand that are actually still married and thriving in their marriages. And then there are others who were married and are no longer even speaking to each other afterwards. I personally don't think now marriage is for love. I don't think there's any unconditional love there. I don't think there's a respect factor. Um, I think a lot of things need to be kind of identified before you decide you want to get married. And I don't think people go through those gauntlets of emotions and talks and feelings before they do so. I think a lot of marriages are transactional. I think a lot of marriages are just because you might have gotten pregnant, or just because you feel like this is the best choice that you're going to get, or that you're probably not going to get any better, or you might have just been like, fuck it, he's rich, or she's sexy, or whatever. I don't hear, as far as what the confines of marriage used to be back in the days when, when things were a little different. I don't hear that now being like a contributing factor. I just see a lot of people just like, I must get married because we've been with each other forever, so you might as well do it. And it's like, nah, fuck that. That's not gonna work. Or some people are like, I'm getting old, so I ain't got no other choice, and the options I want don't want me, so I might as well go ahead and get the next best thing, so that way I don't look like a whore, I don't look like, a Jezebel, I don't look like whatever the case may be, whatever mindset that you might have, because your friends got married, and your moms, and your dads, and your uncles, and your aunts, and all whoever else got married, and nah, get married because you feel as though you can't live, you would prefer not to live without this person in your life because they have a huge contribution to your life. That's what I think it should be for. I don't hear love in any of these definitions. I don't hear this person gives me more to myself with them, without them. You don't hear it. It doesn't hear it. And it doesn't sound like that it lasts for a significant period of time. It sounds like people get taken to the cleaners. It sounds, very transactional. It just sounds bad. And it's a shame, unfortunately, but it is what it is. Men nowadays aren't really necessarily looking to be married. They're only getting married because the women in their lives are pressuring them to do so. Like, we've been together for God knows how long. Why aren't we married yet? It makes the guys think, well, shit, why aren't we married? Well, because y'all haven't had those talks yet that makes you feel comfortable that this person is the one, so to speak, that you can eliminate any other possible options that you might have. Keep in mind, there's 3 billion people. I mean, there's 7 billion people on this planet. Half of them are female, half of them are male, minus and subtract the ones that are relatives, family, friends, and ones you're not attracted to or within your demographic area, and ones that you're probably not attracted to. A lot of people out here that's gonna look and just be married because they bored, especially with men. Like, men are getting literally like they asses handed to them in marriage. You think they want to go out there and just start just alley ooping that shit, especially if they develop some self consciousness and peace to themselves? Absolutely not. Also, too, men ain't trying to just marry somebody who everybody had access to. Like, if you got a single guy and he's in good health and he's in great shape and he got his life together, he's self-aware, he's taking care of himself, and he's just moving along, escalating and whatnot. He ain't trying to marry somebody who's traumatized and who's been demonized and who's been someone's old cum bucket and has a circus of babies and shit. Anybody trying to just inherit that shit? That's a headache waiting to happen. There's no benefit in that. Um, Marriage can be beautiful. It can be nice. I've seen some that seem to still blossom, but that means you got to have those hard talks. You got to have those conversations to where it feels uncomfortable, but also too, you can still respect the fact this person is being honest with you. If you can have a conversation with somebody and it feels like you're afraid to say something and you're walking on eggshells, yeah, you're not ready for marriage, because marriage is going to bring out the good, the bad, and the ugly. You might be good friends or be a good boyfriend girlfriend source and be and blossom in that. Marriage is a different step. You got to be able to communicate about, traumas in your life and share, embarrassing stuff about yourself, and be able to embrace it, be able to live, impactfully with yourself and this other person. Now you got to share a space, you got to share finances, you got to share past traumas, you got to share nightmares, you got to share joy, you got to share boredom, you got to share all of that. You got to become one with one other person. Your selfish, independent ways are out the window. The mindset has to change. Your behaviors have to change. Your actions have to change. A lot of people don't want to let that go, especially if you've been married before and somebody ripped that from you. You damn sure ain't about to do that shit again. And if you do, you don't. You're definitely going to go into it guarded. You're definitely going to go into it protected and afraid to make a decision that could be detrimental to you. And if there's children involved or in your finances, maybe a fucking pet, you ain't trying to ruin that just because you really, really like somebody strong enough to not want to let them go, but not strong enough to say I do forever. That's a hell of a commitment. A lot of people aren't consistent with commitments of making to themselves on certain things. So it's like, I don't necessarily believe people are going to be committed to being married for the rest of your life. People always want to commit to working out and exercising January 1st, make a New Year's resolution. They usually fail after 3 months. People want to commit to not smoking. Some people say, I'm going to stop smoking. A week later, they're smoking again because they're stressed out. People want to commit to stop drinking. They might not have one drink at one party, but then 2 weeks later, go with somebody else and get fucked up. People might want to commit to living right, eating healthy, not doing this, not spending money, not doing this, and then backtrack on that. So it's like if you can't be consistent with small things, marriage is a bigger dynamic. And that's not going to just change overnight because in your mind, like, I want to do this, I want to do this. No, you got to be self-aware. You got to know what you're capable of doing and what you cannot do. That's the problem. A lot of people aren't honest with themselves. A lot of people don't even want to tell the person that they're with right now, I don't think we even deserve to be together, but we're so comfortable with each other, we might as well not break up because you're not going to have success going to find somebody to replace them. In-home booty or in-home dick is not easy to replace. It can be, but somebody's got to deal with your shit. Somebody's got to get used to your behaviors. Somebody's got to like you again. You got to go through the whole gauntlet of emotions and asking questions and building chemistry and cohesion. That shit could be exhausting. Some people don't want to go through that, especially if you're aging, if you're picking up weight, if you're not that attractive, you ain't got the same game no more, if you're not that appealing, you're this and that. Some people have grown onto that. Not to mention, if you already know that you a scumbag from the gate, you already know that you a piece of shit, you already know your attitude stinks, you already know your behavior is fucked up, you already know that your mouth is slick, you already know that you're lazy. Some people don't want to deal with that. The person you're with, they might accept it and might be okay with it, but the next person in line, you're going to step up and put your best foot forward. You're not going to give them no trash ass bullshit and expect them to just be like bow over and kiss it and take it because the best you can got. Nah, because they're going to leave you right where you at. So yeah, so marriage, you got to have those long talks. You got to have those hard conversations. Doesn't mean they have to be detrimental. It means that you have to have them. If they're in your mind, you should talk about them. Convey it to your partner. Let them know, like, hey, identify traumas, identify past history, identify things that are afraid of it, identify fears, identify accomplishments. Y'all say y'all want a best friend, but do you talk to your friends about everything? Sometimes some of y'all do. Why are y'all afraid to talk about somebody that you want to consider a spouse long term, that you share more with people who aren't your spouse, that you're afraid to do with your spouse? Then that means that you should kind of reinvent how your thought process with the person that you're sharing personal space and intimate space with for long periods of time, not because you just comfortable with them sexually and because you like them and you don't want shit to be fucked up. Think about it.